Hello and welcome back to the Cocked Dice. This week's video is a bit of an odd one. I was reading through the Warhammer Community website tonight. It was introducing Warzone Caradon and more specifically the new detachments for Be'lakor's disciples. So the followers of Be'lakor getting these rules allows them to field as a regiment of renown and essentially allow you to mix up both the demonic side and the Chaos Space Marine side of your Chaos armies for Warhammer 40k. Skimming through it and seeing all the stratagems, things like Legion of Shade, Locus of Shadows, and Disciples of Shadows, just reading through the flavour text gave me a little bit of an idea around making some kind of smoky demon types. I can kind of explain it like that. So I've had a rummage through my bits box and I've come up with this. For some reason, somewhere in the past, I bought some Tzeentch demons, apparently, and I've got a bunch of the Screamers of Tzeentch. They look pretty perfect for doing sort of smoky, wispy, void demon things, so they'll look pretty cool. I used to have an Age of Sigmar Khorne army, and I found a spare unit of Bloodletters kicking around in my garage as well, so we'll try a Bloodletter, we'll try a Screamer of Tzeentch, and of course the most obvious kit to blend them with is going to be some stuff from the Nighthaunts kit. My usual favourite, the Chain Rasps. They've got loads of nice wispy ends, and these, which I have completely forgotten what they're called, Hex Harridans, something Harridans, Hexwraith Harridans? I can't remember. They came with Mortal Realms magazine. I've got a couple of sprues of them kicking about. I don't think I'm going to use them for anything else, so we'll hack up these. They've got some really nice kind of knackered cloth, holy, ghosty bits, which I reckon pulling some of this off and adding it to the demons will make them look pretty awesome. So this is the least planned conversion I've ever done on this channel. I've literally gone out and grabbed some bits, so we'll kind of kick off. Now I want these to generally look pretty much like the demons they're supposed to be. I'm not going to go into this whole chopping up and making them look completely random and different. They have to be recognisable as a Bloodletter or other demon on the battlefield. So I just need to figure out I'll use this one here. No instructions either for these, so I've no idea what I'm doing. But as I was saying, I want them to look recognisable, so I'm going to keep the weapons. They'll be obviously Bloodletters, but Bloodletters with a bit of a twist, and just help make your army just a little bit more unique. So first job, once you've got your unit ready, get it all cleaned up, get all the connection points sorted, and do all the usual mould line removal. For you, this will be about 5 seconds. For me, I'll be back in about 10 minutes once this is done. So I've finished cleaning these up and we'll get on to actually doing some assembly. I'm literally just going to build these pretty much stock to begin with. I'm going to basically try two methods. This one is going to go stock as he is. We'll drop a head on, just building up. I think I'll leave the back spines off for now, but I'll give him his tail. It's I suppose. Give that a bit of time to dry and then we'll start testing some parts on it to see how it works out. Leave the spine off for now because I might find some cool bits to put on instead. So one of the things I wanted to do is I'm going to get rid of the Bloodletter tongue. I've never liked it on the models. I know it's been there for many iterations of them, but it kind of takes away some of their scariness in my book. So if you look at, see if this fits together properly, yep, that instead. That looks way, way better in my book than the kind of weird sticky out tongue thing. So these need a bit of time to dry. I'll be back in a few minutes when they're dry and we will do some stuff with them. So we'll start with this Screamer of Tzeentch, and I've pulled a few various parts off that seem to fit the bill. Now this, I reckon we can attach kind of about there on the wings. We'll cut it across here, we'll trim this off. Obviously you have to take this gate post off here. So we'll trim it back to about there. Might even swing it around so it's reattaching to its tail. That'd be quite cool. So I aim to do something like that with this piece here. This one will just drop off this wing here, just a small kind of extension. And this part down here, again, I think will fit quite nicely along his tail here. So it's quite a bit heavy, this one, but I think it's going to have to be that way. So to get the idea of what we're doing, I'm going to lay this over the top. I'm going to grab a Sharpie marker So we want to kind of follow the same curve. Round about there, and then we'll take it down there, and that should be about right, I reckon. So we'll clip this arm off first of all. That can go in the bits box for later, and then we'll just take, so I'm not going to cut right up to this, I'm going to cut a little bit further up, make sure I've got a little bit of space to play with. An extra millimetre or two is always beneficial when you're doing any sort of conversion work. Same on the bottom, I'm going to cut nice and far below that line I drew. Take that piece off. And then we'll test it again. There we go, I think that's getting closer. I've now made it. Should have left more on this end. It'll be fine. There we go. So obviously need to clean this up a bit. Need to clean this bottom bit up. So we'll just do that nice and simply. So just take a knife. Just trim this weird piece off there. We don't want that. We'll trim this gatepost down piece here. Try and keep these lovely curves of the Nighthawk model if we can. And again, just clean that down. Round it off a little bit so it matches the rest. And then underneath we're going to have to sort all this out, so just get your knife, just cut it down and then smooth it out with the side of the blade. And then on top up here I'm going to, actually I might leave that on for now. Let's have a look how it's fitting. So I think we want to fit it about there. So what I'm going to do, I'll clean my workspace up a little bit. Let's come from out there, back to shaft marker, and we'll just, so I'm going to lose this piece here basically. So we'll do that next. After if we clip this out of the way. Oh. So once we've got an idea of where we're cutting, just trim it off. Like so. Try the piece on. You can see where we want to cut there. Again, let's cut a bit further into this piece, so we'll just start using the knife now and just work our way into it. Keep testing your fit as you're going. For the tail piece, this is going to be a bit easier. We're going to cut a nice straight line back here, like so. Test fit it back on the tail. I think we want to bring it in a little bit more, so we will bring the angle in from kind of straight that way to more like maybe that. On the side of his tail where we've got these nubs, we'll just have to trim these off to make sure we can get a nice clean fit on it. So a nice flat bit there to get this stuck onto. That'll help it stay nice and strong and make sure that it doesn't break off easily. Cool. 2 bits done. One final piece. I'm going to put this on here. Now I'm going to be, we'll do it so it's curling up a little bit. So I want to take it, I'm just going to mark this with a knife. About that point there to over here somewhere. Just try to strip the whole thing off first. And then do what I did before and just work into it a little bit. It's looking pretty perfect there. Awesome. So let's stick it together. See how it looks. This is it's just a random experiment. I fancied it. It's sometimes odd when you're skimming through a magazine or a article and inspiration just kind of hits you. Now I don't like that trimming down, I want to trim it up a bit, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut the angle slightly more sharply like that. Same line, just try and bring it so it's facing up a little bit. I'm losing a little bit of material here, but it's not a big problem. That should just solve that a little bit. There we go. Sure it fits nicely on there. Plenty of contact. Glue's starting to go off there. It really doesn't matter if you get glue everywhere at the moment, because we're going to green stuff over these to solidify the connection. If you're really worried about the connections, then I would suggest you pinning these odd pieces on. It's really not particularly difficult. So that's kind of the part stuck on for now. I'm going to give this a little while to dry off, and then we'll get the green stuff out and just solidify this in a little bit. I'm pretty sure you could go much further up here. I think that this big piece especially would be a little bit better if it was further up, because we've kind of extended it out quite substantially there. But we will see how this goes as it dries and we do some green stuff on it. So on to the blood letter now. This one's probably a little bit simpler. Again, I've gone with the chain rasp hood bits here. Now, from one of the base pieces, they've got these lovely kind of ethereal flame type sections, so we'll just trim the bit that normally attached to the base off. And then for this piece, if we're careful here, we'll take the sword off. Take this sword arm completely out of the way. There you go, I can go in the bits box. We've actually got this lovely long body. Now, I don't need all of it, I'm going to need to about there. Trim this carefully down. There we go. Try not to break the blade. If you've got a pair of clippers or a bigger blade, it might be sensible doing that. Now, I'm going to split this into two pieces. It just gives us an extra bit here to use. We'll take that in the middle there, like so. Now this bigger piece I'm going to use to come from his back here, I think, or shall I? Yeah, this one curves that way. That might be better on his arm there. Maybe this piece is on his back. How do I do this? No, I'm not so keen on the back. I might have to stick the spikes on the back actually. Actually, that's quite kind of flame effecty anyway, isn't it? But what I could do is place that on and then place one of these somewhere near the back of them. So I think what I'll do, I'm going to cut this in half there, because I've not got enough of these for all of them, because it's an old kit and I've had it kicking around in ages, and I've obviously borrowed them for another conversion at some point. But with a bit of chopping and changing, we can do something cool with it. So we'll put the top of it on there, so it's starting to just phase out, and then we'll get the bottom of this one. Also this one, doesn't it? And then we'll fit that in, probably that way, curving the wrong way, that way around. So again, I'll trim this up, we'll slim it out, try and make it a bit more even. I need to go on a bit more of a flat plane. Might be sensible to try and find some of these that are on a more level plane than the others. Then we'll look at the actual thing. I've got a weird bump there, so what I'm going to do is just curve that back in. And we'll try that. Starting to sit in there nicely. Need to thin it up a little bit more. And then with his hands, we're going to just drop some on the back here. Make this hand just starting to disappear. Some sort of ethereal, fiery stuff, like so. Same with this arm. Just need to cut along here. And about there. Nice long cut. Start seeing that fitting along here. Now I actually want it to come out a bit more. I need this line to go a bit more like that. I'll bring it right out. It's better there. Back of his arm, just going to level it, make sure it's nice and level. Again, need to get a good connection to it. Obviously you can add them to his hair, to his horns, to any part of him. The back of his legs would be quite cool as well, just having these wisping off into nothingness. I might try some much more dynamic ones where I replace whole legs and stuff. You can do some quite cool stuff. I kind of want them to be shadowy smoke demon things. So one thing I wanted to do on this guy as well is replicate those kind of chains that Be'lakor has hanging from his wings. So this is from the Age of Sigmar. I think it's from a chariot kit. something like that. So we're going to give him this as a bit of a belt buckle somewhere up there. So as you can see, I'm going to trim this side chain down. It's pretty easy. We'll just pick a centre link, that one there, trim it off, and then just clean up around the bottom here where the 2 links are until it looks more like we just have a single link ending the connection. And once it's shorted off, we'll just drop that on here, and that should help tie him into the kind of Be'lakor look, and I think goes fairly well with his corn-like demeanour. So this has had a bit of time to dry now, and we're going to get the green stuff out and start just filling in these gaps. Now, as you can see here, we've got a bit of a mismatch of curves, so we need to kind of level this out. Just going to drop some green stuff over the top of it, and then tuck it underneath. Take your tool, make sure it's nice and wet, and just start working over to blend the 2 parts together. So we get a nice smooth line. Now where we've got joins like this where they're really sharp, we want to soften them a little bit because it's supposed to be disappearing back off into the warp somewhere, into the realm of shadow and smoke and whatever else. So try and get a nice curve, wider curve like that. I'm not being overly careful with the green stuff at the moment, I'm just trying to shove it in. You don't need to worry too much about that. You just need to eke out and smooth out these curves a little bit. Same here, look, we've got a line coming in, so we need to build this out a little bit. First job on this is going to smooth this out a bit. So clay rubber shaper, if you haven't got one of these, lick your finger, rub your finger over it. If you've got one of these, again keep it wet, but also just work it in. I'll try and blend this as tightly as possible with the original body. And once you've got it pretty well, you can see on this one it's got these kind of sideways lines on it, so we're going to try and emulate some of that in here, keep the patterning from where we can, just with the point of the clay shaper. There we go, it's coming in nicely there. And the reason I built this lump here is I'm going to carry the pattern down here a little bit, so it's kind of still partially there. And so there we have it, we've blended together the kind of spectrally bits in with the rest of his body really quite easily there. Just smoothed it out plenty, especially on these bits which are a bit flatter, and then carved in a bit of texture just to make it appear like the creature is kind of elongated and stretching into the smoke. So I'll pop him on one side. So back over to the bloodletter now, and we're going to do much the same sort of thing. So we're going to have some small bits of green stuff, nice little ones. I'm just going to run them along the edges of these flames, and just work them in so that you blend them in with the bloodletter's body. So you want them essentially just to be part of it. Doesn't want to look like a stuck-on flame. I want this guy to be disappearing back off into the warp from whence he came. So the easiest way is brushing down from the outside of it in towards the body. That should keep fairly smooth, and then I'll work it up with the clay shaper in a little bit. Just makes it kind of attached a bit more, especially on ones like this where you've got a bit of a gap, or if you look back here I've got a bit of a gap there, so I need to bring these two together. So I'll just sculpt up the rest of this and I'll be back in a few moments. So here we are, they are both now finished with a bit of blending in. As you can see, they've got a pretty good smooth surface on both of them. Obviously it's got some nice texture on it. These curves I think look a lot better with that. It almost looks like it's coming through there. So yeah, I'm really happy with these. I'm going to get them painted up. If you hang around for a moment or two, you'll be able to see painted versions of them coming up right about now. Thanks for joining us. And thanks for joining us here at the Clock Dice. Why not like this video and add a comment below? It really helps boost the channel. And while you're at it, if you click on the icon below, you can subscribe to the channel for all the latest updates as soon as they're live. Why not check out some of our other videos and playlists? You can click on the ones on screen right now. Take care, and we'll see you next time.